Hey YouTube, what's up? It's Lauren. Welcome back to my channel. I am here with little sleepy Sawyer. He's gonna be joining me for this video, and now that he is over 3 weeks old, thought I better put together his birth story. Not really a labor because it was a planned C-section, but this is gonna be kind of his delivery story and our whole hospital stay. So again, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of my videos, and comment down below. I love to talk to you guys. Also, we have an Instagram page, Teddy and Lauren Life. So go ahead and follow us on there because I post on there more frequently than I do on YouTube. I have my notes on my computer down here, so that's why I am looking this way. So let's jump right on in because I don't want this video to be too long. So Tuesday, August 18th was his birthday. Again, planned C-section, so no exciting labor. Definitely not as exciting as Cade's labor and delivery with the 4-day long induction before his C-section. But in the grand scheme of things, it was very nice, and I am very glad that he was born the way he was via C-section because of how big he was. So surgery was scheduled for 10:30. We needed to be at the hospital at 8:30. We dropped Cade off with a friend of mine. She's got 2 boys of her own, and they are best buds, so he was gonna have a blast for the next couple days. Not really worried about him. But we dropped him off at about 7:40-ish at my friend's house, about a half-hour drive to the hospital. Got there at 8:30, and we were put into a triage room, which was a little bit of a bummer. There wasn't a room available yet, but that's okay. We were in the triage room for those 2 hours before the C-section. They took blood, ran a bunch of labs. I had my COVID test done 2 days prior, so we already had those negative results back. And they started an IV, which it took them 3 times to do. I just have very difficult veins to find, apparently. So the IV team came with the ultrasound, and she was like, okay, perfect, got it, done. And she left, and the nurse started the IV fluids. I think it was just saline fluids at that time. But it turns out that that IV spot had infiltrated, and so literally the fluid was just going under my skin. Very painful, started to burn. I was like, get this thing out of me, because it was just this hard bubble lump under my skin, which it didn't take too long for it to absorb, within the hour it was fine. But yeah, then the IV team had to come back in with the ultrasound again, and they finally, 3rd time, found a good vein and started my IV with that. I was able to meet the entire OR team, which was a huge difference between Sawyer's C-section and Cade's, is because obviously Cade's was not planned, and so I knew nobody in the OR around me, which did not help calm my nerves. So yeah, with Sawyer's, I was able to meet everybody. The anesthesiologist, there was another assistant to the anesthesiologist, I think. I'm not sure. My OB came in, and that was another big difference, is my personal OB delivered Sawyer. I had no idea who delivered Cade. And there was an OB resident, so that was kind of cool. He was there to learn. Yeah, so I met everybody. There was one specific nurse that's there just for the baby, which is cool. She was super nice. And yeah, they would just kind of answered any last minute questions that we had. And then at about 10:30, walked myself back to the OR, sat myself down on the table. They gave me a pillow to hug, and I leaned over, and they did the spinal block, which was another difference. With Cade, I had already had the epidural, so they just kind of crank the epidural up. But for this one, they do a spinal block, which goes to work in a matter of seconds. And so you kind of just trust fall back, and you lay down on the table, and they put the drapes up and take the antiseptic, the iodine or whatever, wipe down your whole belly and area and everything. And then Teddy joined. And so Mr. Sawyer here was born at 10:59 a.m. is when he emerged from my belly at 10 pounds and 2 ounces, 21 and a half inches long. His head circumference was 14 3/4. Another big difference between him and Kate is Sawyer cried immediately upon emerging from the incision from my belly, which was such a good thing to hear, because with Kate, it took him a while. He came out blue with the cord around his neck, and they whisked him to the other room. And when I heard Cade's cries, it was, relief, obviously. But Sawyer came out feisty and crying. They took him. Teddy went with, just kind of like right next door through the doors. Kind of did a quick once over, made sure he was breathing and everything, a quick wipe down. Although he was born with a lot of vernix, which was cool. They didn't wipe it all away, which I'm so happy with, because I was able to rub that gooey goodness into his skin. And they brought him back out to me, and I did skin to skin right away in the OR, and he latched on and started nursing a little bit. He wasn't super interested. And so, yeah, we just kind of hung out for a little bit while they started like stitching me up and closing and everything. And then they went back into that other room. Teddy went with, weighed him and everything, did all of the other measurements, and then wrapped him up, put a hat on him. And then they were done with me in the OR, and I got to hold Sawyer while they wheeled us back to our room. And at that time, our room was ready. So they had brought all of our belongings from the triage room to our room, our postpartum room. And then it began. He was here. He was with us. I was still, numb, feeling good at that time. And so then, as we're kind of getting settled in, they took his blood sugar for the first time, and it was 27. It was 21. I had written down during his entire hospital stay. We were there Tuesday and got discharged in the afternoon on Friday. He had 27 blood sugar heel pokes. So 27 total blood sugars were taken during that time span. His first blood sugar was 21. Cade's was 17. So we kind of knew what to expect going in. We knew he would have most likely low blood sugars due to me having type 1 diabetes. Kind of like the science background knowledge as to why that can happen. Babies of diabetic mothers having low blood sugars themselves is because in utero, they have your blood sugar, and their bodies are making their own insulin to kind of compensate for your blood sugars as well. So when they are removed from your body, the mother's body, their pancreas is essentially overcompensating and working too hard and creating too much insulin. So therefore, they can get low blood sugars themselves. So it can take their little bodies just some extra time to realize, like, oh, we don't have to work this hard. We can cool it a little bit and not make so much insulin. And so that's how that happens. I'm not a doctor, so correct me if I'm wrong or if I did not explain that very well. But hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit more of understanding of why they can have lower blood sugars. So throughout the day, his first blood sugar was 21, then 31, 43, 36, 46, 53, 44, 39. This was from like noon to like 9 p.m. They just kept testing his blood sugar every time he would eat. I had brought in a couple of ounces of expressed colostrum, so we were giving him that. He was latching on great, and it seemed to be nursing really well, swallowing, things like that. But his blood sugars just were low. We were using the SNS system as well, the supplemental nursing system, to give him that colostrum as well. However, about 9:30 with the blood sugar of 39, The doctors came in and they were just like, unfortunately, his best place for him right now is the special care nursery. Now, at the hospital I delivered at, they don't have a NICU, which is the neonatal intensive care unit. They have one step down from that, which is the special care nursery. So they explained all that, and of course I'm breaking down in tears. I don't want them to take him, but of course I know it's the best place for him. And so at about 10 p.m., Teddy went with, and they brought him to the special care nursery, and they started a dextrose IV in his hand. Teddy said he didn't even flinch, like he kind of slept through the whole thing, which makes me feel a little bit better. And yes, so they started him essentially on like a sugar water fluid drip to help regulate his blood sugars. And about 10:40 p.m., his blood sugar was 60. So going in the right direction. Teddy's back in the room with me, of course, at this time. My catheter from the surgery was removed at about 11 p.m. and I was able to finally get up and move around, walk around, went to the bathroom. And so at about 11:30 that night on Tuesday, Teddy wheeled me to the special care nursery, and, you know, I had been away from him for a couple hours at that time, so it was really good to see him again. And that entire night, we went to the special care nursery about every 3 hours for his feedings. I would nurse him, and then we would use donor breast milk with the SNS system. And so they just kept taking his blood sugars. Wednesday, again, went to the special care nursery every 3 hours for his feedings. But Sawyer's blood sugars were still so low during that time. 62, 71, which is a good one, but then 51, 47, 52, 57, 66. So they were not able to start weaning him off of that IV yet. If anything, I think they even bumped it up. So that was basically all day Wednesday. We would, every 3 hours, go to the nursery. I would nurse. We would do the SNS. And it would take like 45 minutes, an hour. I would do skin to skin as much as I could. And then we would go back to our room and I would pump. And then we would try to nap. We would fit in eating, showering, It doesn't give you much time in between those feedings. You have like an hour or so, an hour and a half back in our room essentially to like do all the things we need to do, maybe squeeze in a nap. And then we would be right back in the special care nursery. But of course that's where I wanted to be. So that was all day Wednesday. Thursday, leading up to here, 2 a.m. on Thursday, Wednesday night, Thursday, early morning, we actually decided to sleep through this feeding, which was super hard for me to do. It was hard for me not to go and be with him. But I know that I needed some sleep. I was hardly pumping any colostrum at all. Like I'm talking 1 to 3 milliliters. So I know my body needed sleep and rest. And so we slept through that feeding, went back at 5 a.m. And at this time, Thursday morning, we decided to switch to formula. With Cade had low blood sugars, but they were like a couple of points away from being in the special care nursery. And we were able to keep him in our room with us, and we supplemented formula. With Sawyer, I was like all gung-ho about not doing bottles, not doing formula. I don't know why. I just like my own pride. I didn't want to do that. And I don't know, because thinking back, that's what worked with Cade. And I went on to breastfeed him for 18 months. So I know, using formula right away in the beginning wasn't going to ruin our breastfeeding relationship. And that's what worked with getting Cade's blood sugars up. So we decided, I made the hard decision to move to formula. And lo and behold, it worked. It's just, you can tell how much they get easier and how many calories they're intaking easier. So Thursday, his blood sugars are finally creeping up with formula. 67, 74, 76. At 1:45 p.m. on Thursday, his poor little IV in his hand started leaking. But this was kind of a blessing in disguise because they took it out and because at this point they had weaned down the IV, the dextrose. And so they were like, well, instead of putting a new one in for maybe like 4 to 6 hours, we're going to see how he does without it. And he did great. His blood sugars were, 72 without the IV, and then 71 a little while later. So by 8 p.m., he was discharged from the special care nursery. He was there for almost 48 hours, a couple hours shy. And during this time, he had passed all of his newborn screening tests. He did not have any jaundice. And so he was able to come back into our room with us by 8 p.m., like 8:15 on Thursday. At about 10 o'clock, he had the first feeding in our room, and I pumped 25 mils of colostrum. Yay. And then I like immediately passed out. I had Teddy feed him the colostrum, and then some formula on top of that with a bottle. 2 a.m., his blood sugar was 78. Yay. And he was like nursing like a champ. He was, sleeping like a champ. Friday, they did one more blood sugar test at like 11 a.m. in our room, and it was 64. So again, good. They wanted above 60 at that point. We had our little newborn photo shoot in our room. I just did my own little photo shoot with our little letter board, lots of pictures. Sawyer was checked out by the pediatrician. Everything was good to go. We did his little his footprints on his little fake little birth certificate, like a commemoration of birth certificate. And we were discharged by 3 p.m. and we got to come home. Now, Cade, at that point, because we were there an extra day that we thought we were going to be, my mom actually got Cade at my friend's house on Friday morning, at noon on Friday. And we decided that Cade should just spend one night with my mom, with Nona. And so he came on the following day on Saturday, and I already uploaded a video of him meeting Sawyer for the first time. You should check that out because it's adorable. And that was that. We came home and we were a family of 4, and oh my gosh, it was wonderful. So overall, the C-section itself was a lot easier than with Cade. I'm healing a lot easier. But the hospital stay in general after he was born was a little bit more stressful with Sawyer because he was in the special care nursery and Cade was not. So yeah, they each had their own challenges in their own certain way, I will say. So I am going to put together another video of hospital clips, some footage that we took while we were there, and include some pictures and everything. And thank you guys so much for being patient with me because it's been, Mr. Cade is awake from his nap. It's just taken me some time to find my groove here. So I am hoping to get some more videos out your way as well. So thank you again so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, thumbs up, turn on your notifications, comment below, follow us on Instagram, Teddy and Lauren Life. And we will talk to you guys later. Here's a little squishy Sawyer face to look at. Ugh. Life's rough. Talk to you guys later. Bye.